He's the former president and publisher of the Sun Herald, and now he's on the radio. Welcome to Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome to the Coast View. I hope you had a great weekend and hope you're having a great day. The Coast View, VUE, the visual perception of a region. That's what we're doing with this show. We're painting a picture of coastal Mississippi, a beautiful picture of coastal Mississippi, through our amazing and successful guests. So I hope you've enjoyed the show so far. And let me just say this. How you doing, Kyle?
Oh, good. How are you?
I'm doing really good. So other than Kyle's job here at TeleSouth, which he's literally a jack of all trades, he also does the music for the Saints at the Superdome during Saints games. Good, huh? So were you in withdrawals last week?
A little bit. Yeah, we were fully expecting to play yesterday.
Yeah, I know, man. It's interesting. It is also interesting how people just move on. They just, okay, they're out of it. Let's just move on. I think that's the way that they deal with it.
The entire South is now checked out of the NFL playoffs.
So I really enjoyed last week, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We had Haley Barber on Monday, Mary Mahoney's Bobby Mahoney on Tuesday, Allen View's Rick Carter and Terry Green on Wednesday, Hancock Whitney CEO John Harrison on Thursday, and then an amazing guy that talked about foundations and nonprofits, Knight Foundations, Alberto Ibargüen. It was just a fascinating conversation. So if you didn't see those, you can go to our Facebook page at SuperTalk Gulf Coast 103.1. You can just put SuperTalk Gulf Coast, and it will show you the way. You can go to SuperTalk Mississippi's YouTube page. You can go to your favorite podcast. We want you to be able to listen or watch this show however, whenever you want to. We really appreciate you joining us this morning on 103.1. Today, we've got a really colorful character. He's a successful businessman, but he's also a colorful character. He's an award-winning ad agency owner. He's the ultimate TV and radio voice. He's multi-talented. He's a world traveler. He's got a famous father, Wade Geist, the former Harrison County Civil Defense Director. We're going to talk about his father, his life, fly fishing, great books. Who knows where we're going in this conversation? Reed Geist. Hello, Reed.
All right, Ricky. Glad to be here with you today.
I love your voice. You have such a great voice.
What a great mic. This is one of those close mics. You can really get your voice going on those.
So you are actually an announcer, an FM announcer for an underground rock station in the Army, is that right?
Yeah, right. I was in the Army, and about the last 6 months I was in Columbus, Georgia. FM was just getting its start. As a matter of fact, I met a guy at a remote once. He said, "Oh, I was John Reed on the air." Yeah. "Oh, you're John Reed. Man, you're good enough for AM."
Hey, so announce my show.
Oh, yeah. You're listening to Coast View with Ricky Matthews on 103.1 SuperTalk, Mississippi.
That's great.
Save that one, okay?
I'll
give you another take later.
Yeah, we will. So look, Ann and I, my wife Ann and I, we joke all the time that you led my son Justin to a near-death experience.
I didn't mean to.
So the story goes like this. Reed and I love books, and we share a love of Ernest Hemingway. And I'd read Ernest Hemingway, but it was Reed who sort of helped me understand the essence of him. He shared the book, The Short Stories, that Justin fell in love with Hemingway. He went on to read The Sun Also Rises, about expatriates that go from Paris to Pamplona to go to the festival at San Fermin. While Justin was in Madrid learning Spanish, he goes by himself to Pamplona to run with the bulls and nearly gets gored in Dead Man's Corner. And since then, Ann and I have never forgotten Reed. You're responsible for that.
Oh, man. I'm just glad he made it.
I am, too. So you're an accomplished fly fisherman. You've been all over the world.
Yeah, I have. Oh, it's been wonderful, man. And me and my fishing buddy, David Sheffield, we've been to New Zealand and we've been to Patagonia. Man,
wow.
We've been to some cool places.
Wow.
We really have.
Belize.
Key
West.
That's right, everywhere.
And you really sort of made a serious mark on saltwater fly fishing in the Gulf. You have over 10 state records, and you tie your own flies.
It's something. Well, you know how it is. Like when you first start fishing, you want to catch a fish.
Yeah.
Then you want to catch a lot of fish.
Yeah.
But then you want to catch a big fish. And then a lot of big fish. But then you start making it hard on yourself.
Yeah.
You might say, okay, I'm just going to fish top water now.
Yeah.
Or I'm just going to fish ultralight.
Right.
Well, I've taken it too far, way too far. Fly fishing only,
I heard Joe Rogan on his podcast recently in the conversation with Chris Stapleton. It was a fascinating conversation, but they got to talking about the outdoors and especially fishing. And then they started talking about fly fishing. They sort of got it, but they were really struggling to find the words. Explain fly fishing to us.
I can tell you one thing about fly fishing is that when you're so passionate about something like that, when you really love something like that, you have an infinite capacity to bore people to tears. I mean, people start getting away from you. Go to a cocktail party, they go to the other side of the room. Oh my God, he's going to talk about fly fishing again. But it's wonderful. Fly fishing probably has one of the greatest bodies of literary work surrounding it than any other sport you can think of.
Right.
I mean, baseball, football, anything. But they've been writing about fishing forever, and most of it is trying to figure out what is it about fly fishing. What is it? What's the thing, about fly fishing? It's hard to explain.
It's the love of the environment. It's that moment when you feel the breeze and you see the stream. Grab the book. There's a book that Reed shared with me called On the Spine of Time, and it's written by Harry Middleton. And then he went on to share with me another book that was published posthumously that showed numerous of his writing. But read one of the stanzas that we selected.
Harry Middleton, when he was a kid, he lived with his grandfather and great uncle up in Arkansas, old men, and all they did was fly fish.
Yeah.
Here's something. He's talking about his grandfather. When he could not fly fish, or on winter evenings, after his work was done, he would settle down at the kitchen table with the latest fishing magazines and catalogs. My grandfather dearly loved shopping the catalogs for odd pieces of equipment and innovative, promising-looking flies. Once the catalogs and magazines were searched, thorough, exhausted, he eagerly turned to his favorite books, the authors like Roderick Hegg Brown and Ernest Hemingway. The old man loved to tell me that there was more to fishing than hooking a fish. Anybody could do that. Fishing went deeper. Fishing, the old man earnestly believed, was a way for a man to reconnect with the natural world. A man with a fly rod in his hands became just one creature among many, each trying to outwit the other. Fishing put a man back into nature's economy, made him a participant, not just an observer. Hemingway and the others were full of such intimations. Fine stuff for the old fisherman's winter dreams.
Wow, that's so beautiful. And that there's many stanzas like that are so important. But hey, you mentioned David Sheffield, your friend David. He wrote for Saturday Night Live in the early '80s. He recently went back with Eddie Murphy.
It's incredible. David and I are lifelong friends. In fact, he helped me get my business off the ground.
Yeah,
that was right before he went to New York to write for Saturday Night Live. Mm-hmm. And he hooked up with Eddie Murphy, and the rest is history. He did all that stuff. Gumby, Mr. Robinson, the hot tub thing, with it, all of that. He wrote all that stuff with Eddie Murphy, and then went on to write some of his movies. Coming to America, Boomerang,
Nutty Professor,
1 and 2. Yeah. And then out of the blue, he retired some years ago. He has a horse farm up by Laurel, beautiful acreage.
Yeah.
But they called him and said, hey, we want to do Coming to America 2. He said, oh, yeah, okay, let's go. So he and his partner wrote the script for Coming to America 2.
Wow.
They've been up on the set in Atlanta, hanging with Eddie and all the director and all the crew up there. And then when Eddie was invited to go on Saturday Night Live, he insisted that David and his writing partner Barry be there, for the week before. So they were there all week before that show a couple of weeks back.
That's so cool. I look forward to having David on in the future because he's another example of a local guy that did extraordinarily well.
He'd be a wonderful guest.
What a great story. So Reed, my son Jordan says of you that you have this low threshold for amazement. It's almost like a childlike quality to be able to see the nuance of things. You almost have a genius ability to see things that a lot of us take for granted. Where does that come from?
My brother, I'll go, I'll see something, when I'm out fishing with my brother. I say, man, did you see? He said, hey, look, you got to get out more, man. If that excites you. Well, I hope I never lose that. It's hard to keep it as you get older, but just like you said, that childlike quality to just be in awe of the things surrounding you.
So
I saw a wood thrush go up underneath the bush. Oh, was that cool or what? Really? I mean, well, yeah, it was cool. You know,
when you see the Mississippi Gulf Coast, though, you love this place. What do you see?
Yeah, well, I see home. But I think one of the reasons that the Mississippi Gulf Coast is such an important place is that we're literally surrounded by warm, inviting water.
Yeah.
And they don't have that in California.
Yeah.
That water's cold.
Yeah.
And it's rough. Yeah. But we have that warm water, man. Yeah. It's cool.
We were talking this last week with Rick and Terry about the sunsets and how beautiful they are. And so when we come back, we're going to talk about a Guinness Book of World Record. We're going to talk about his famous father and many other cool things. Thanks for joining us. We've got Reed Geis, and we'll be back after this break.
Also listen live to SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1 on your Amazon Alexa devices. Once you've enabled the skill, just say, Alexa, open SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast.
Okay, here's the deal. If you like saving money, then listen to what I'm about to say. Don't scan the dial, listen. We've got tickets to the Audubon Zoo for just $15. And yeah, you do the quick math, that's half price. $30 zoo tickets for just $15. Best part about it? No catch to it. Get as many half-price tickets as you want right now at SuperTalk 1031's Facebook, and just look for the Half Off Deals logo and click it. It's really easy. Take the kids to the zoo for half price. But hurry, this offer ends. They might already be sold out.
Hello, my name is John Merrill, the owner of Amada Senior Care. We're your local trusted advisor for senior home care. We provide experienced caregivers for your loved ones so they can remain in their home. Just like you would care for your loved ones, our employees provide assistance with their personal care needs. As your trusted senior advisor, I can help your family navigate the long-term care insurance process. Just call me, John Merrill with Amada Senior Care, for your free in-home consultation, 228-254-3071.
When you need to pick up a last-minute birthday card or gift, stop into Love's Pharmacy and Gifts in Pass Christian. Yes, Love's is a full-service pharmacy combining local hospitality and affordability. When half of the store has unique gifts, beautiful decorations for your home, fragrances, and free gift wrapping, you only have to make one stop. Love's Pharmacy and Gifts, 12345 Vidalia Road in Pass Christian. If you love great service with a smile, you'll love Love's Pharmacy, with the second location now open in Ocean Springs.
The Eagle Hour, covering Southern Miss and Conference USA sports. It's the latest news from Southern Miss athletics and conversations with Southern Miss coaches, players, and Golden Eagles legends like Deke Adams, former USM linebacker and now D-line coach at the University of Memphis.
In a world where you could just wave a magic wand, Deke, what has to happen for Southern Miss to take the next step?
You really have to commit financially in a way of wanting to move the program forward. If you're going to be competitive within your conference, because you look at the schools that have moved on, the head coaches are making almost triple what the head coach there is making, and it's just different. I bleed black and gold. It's one thing to say, hey, this is Southern Miss, and have the pride, but you also have to be competitive.
The Eagle Hour, available on demand at supertalk.fm. Presented by the Citizens Bank with 2 convenient Gulf Coast locations on Pops Ferry Road and Lemoyne Boulevard.
Are you going to be turning 65 in the next 6 months? You really need to start working on your options right now. For the last 50 years, you've trusted Gary Smith to help you with those options, and he's still here for you today. Start looking for a simple card in your mailbox. Not a piece of mail with an 800 number, but a simple card to say hello with a 228 number. That's Gary Smith. Talk to Gary and tell him what you're looking for and what you can afford for your Medicare supplemental insurance and Plan D prescription drug plan. That way you can keep your doctor and your meds. Call the Gary Smith Agency or visit online at GarySmithAgency.net. Our policy is taking care of you.
This is Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View, and we've got Reed Geis here, a wonderful coast character, very successful ad agency owner, and as I said to him before, kind of a Renaissance man. He does so many different things.
Oh, well, I'm blushing. Thank you.
But Reed, you grew up in Biloxi, and I was tell him where your house was located.
Well, when I was growing up, my house is located right in Mary Mahoney's parking lot.
Wow!
And it was right there on the beach. It was an big old house, and we lived in the front of it. My dad rented out rooms by the week in the back. I mean, it's sort of a slumlord kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that house is now gone. But it was a big old antebellum home behind a gas station on the beach.
Yeah.
But it was cool living down there.
So you were born in Bay St. Louis.
Yeah. My mom went there because my great aunt was a nurse, and she had kind of a difficult. I was a difficult child even before I was born, and so she went over there to have me, and then we came on back to Biloxi.
Wow. So what was it like growing up in Biloxi?
It's incredible. Biloxi before Hurricane Camille. There's no place like that. And growing up as a kid, during the summers, I was just let loose. I would run around barefoot, shorts, no shirt. I went everywhere down on the docks. And I think they actually made that sign, no shirt, no shoes, no service, for me, because I went everywhere like that. No shirt, no shoes, nah.
Isn't it interesting? And we know, I grew up barefooted fishing. John Harrison last week talked about when he was a kid in Long Beach going down to the rock pile and having this little business. He was a little entrepreneur at 6 years old. You had the same experience.
Oh, yes. I would go down to the small craft harbor, the harbor we called it then, and I would just look around. There'd be somebody that'd have a hook laying over here. Nobody threw anything away. I'd find some line, a hook. I'd get a old dried up shrimp. I'd just lay on my belly and hand line down there and catch croakers and pinfish and little catfish and I could spend all day doing that. And I was always there when the charter boats came back.
Oh, right.
Charter boats are coming back 3:30 or 4 o'clock. Now, that was a big deal.
See what they caught.
See who caught what, and to see all the sort of the competition among the boats and the drunk sports. And, it was something.
I still feel that. I did the same thing. I still feel what it felt like back then when I smell that diesel fuel and look at those fish and the smell of it. Isn't it amazing how that affects you?
Actually, smell is something, a part of memory that you keep for a long time.
Yeah. So you were raised in the house with a famous father.
Oh, Lord, yeah. I'm the son of Wade Geist. Living with Wade Geist, sort of like living with Elvis. Everybody loved him. Everybody knew him. All my friends, your dad is so cool. Try to live with him, man. He's so cool. But he was cool. He and my mom were in the real estate and insurance business. Dad was always wanting to make a lot of money, get rich quick. Mom was a civil defense volunteer. I used to carry her projectors around with her, and we'd go to these club organization meetings and show the film, The Red Menace. And a nuclear holocaust and what to do in case of the fallout and all this sort of stuff. We had a fallout shelter when we moved back to Back Bay. We actually built the fallout shelter. Wow. It was something.
Wow.
But then they made some money available for full-time positions. And my mom became the director of Biloxi's operation, and my dad was the director of Harrison County's operation. They were both just really, really interested in that.
Mm-hmm.
But what really changed it is 1965 Hurricane Betsy.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we really realized that they realized the real threat is not nuclear war, it's natural disaster.
Mm-hmm.
And they learned so much from Betsy.
Mm-hmm.
And in the years preceding, so much of it that led to their success. Well, success. They saved thousands of lives, they say. But, how can you say something was a success? My dad's very melodramatic. He said, I don't count the ones I saved. I count the ones I lost.
Yeah.
They haunt me.
Yeah.
He was very melodramatic.
Your mother and father, though, were a team. Most people are unaware of your mother's role and their working together.
She was the brains of the outfit. Let me tell you for sure. Dad was a suit, or he was the front man. She was the brains.
Yeah.
And Dad was a great front man. He connected with people, either face to face and he used the media. Media used him. They worked together. You could book it if he said something. you could take it to the bank. It was interesting. People would always say, okay, if he's on television, if Wade Geis is on TV, and he's got his sleeves rolled up and he's got a pipe in his hand, well, things are going to be okay. But if he comes in there and he's wearing a white jumpsuit and has a cigar shoved in the corner of his mouth, you better head for the hills.
I can see that image.
Really, man. Okay, listen, we got this one going. That one with the pipe. Well, it's going to be a nuisance storm, but it's a good time for us to look over our preparedness plan. Look over here and you look at your hurricane plan, because the next one could be a bad one.
Wow. Speaking of bad one, it was your mother's idea to take a marker.
Yeah, right. Dad would send people out before Camille. He sent people out and get out. You've got to leave. You got to leave. And, oh, we're not going to leave. And his people would say, okay, well, listen, we need your name and the name and phone number of your next of kin. And that shook up some people. My mom's deal was, okay, well, listen, I want you to write down, get a permanent marker and write your name and your Social Security number on your arm, because it's so hard to identify bodies after storms like this. Wow. That got them too.
Wow. And their legacy, I mean, it's beyond just Camille. Long after they were not in those specific roles anymore, even with Katrina, a lot of the work that they did after that was the predicate for successfully communicating with people to get them out in the community. So they have a current day contribution. Tell us more about that.
It's true. And one of the we have the Camille Memorial. I think that our area is more hurricane conscious than ever before. They also learned a lot about how to mitigate the destruction and how to rebuild. Yeah. There wasn't FEMA at the time. It was the federal government. I don't even know what area they went to for this kind of help. Right. But he learned how to fill out the forms. He learned who to go to try to get monies to help people rebuild. In fact, they called him from any other places that had hurricanes. They would call the Board of Supervisors and say, can you send Wade Geis up here and help us? Mm-hmm. And he'd go up there and he would say, look, you have to call this person. You have to fill this form out. You have to do that. And it meant so much helping communities getting back on their feet. They called him down to Central America several times to help mitigate after storms. Mm. And in fact, the Saudi government brought him to Saudi Arabia to work on an emergency preparedness plan for the country of Saudi Arabia. Wow. And that's when he found out he was on Nixon's enemies list. Really? I swear. My dad was on Nixon's enemies list. A guy who worked for Nixon, a local guy, what a character. I'm sorry he's gone. Fred LaRue. Oh, yeah. Called Dad and said, listen, I got some guys that need some generators for their hunting camps up there in North Mississippi. And he told him, mister, those generators are not going to North Mississippi to power a hunting camp. And he got on Nixon's enemies list.
So for our listeners who don't know who Fred LaRue is, tell them about his Watergate relationship.
Fred LaRue was Nixon's, well, they say he was Nixon's bag man. I'll tell you this, he was devoted to Nixon. He helped Nixon be elected down here in the South, and Nixon said, well, I want you to come work for me when I go into office. He said, okay. And when the man went into office, Fred LaRue just walked up into the by the Oval Office and picked out an office. They said, what are you doing here? He said, ask the old man. Yeah. And he had an office next to the Oval Office. Mm-hmm. He didn't have a business card. He didn't have a phone number. Mm-hmm. He was Fred LaRue. Yeah. And he did serve time for his role in Watergate. Mm-hmm. But I got to know him fairly well later in life, and he was an amazing individual. He was
often seen at the bar at Mary Mahoney.
Oh yeah.
Having his court.
I tell you what, he could pick a poll. He could pick a poll out. You look at a opinion poll, yes, and at all the crosstabs and all that. Man, it didn't take him long. He'd tell you exactly who you needed to find and what message you need to give.
Just super brilliant.
Oh, brilliant guy.
So what else? So you raised in a famous household. What else stands out in your childhood?
Oh well, it's fishing, and just being able to roam around Biloxi on your own. Oh my gosh, when I had a bicycle, I could even go farther. I could go all the way back to the T Pier, then on Back Bay.
You know what that reminds me of? The time your son, you were on the North Shore of Back Bay, that he took his bike and went went to the point of Biloxi. What did he do?
My son Wade, we were living on Langley Point. This is right when the casinos came through. Well, one day he got on his bicycle and he went across the bridge, I-110 bridge, into Biloxi, to Grand Biloxi, and went into their kids club. They called me up and said, you know where your son is? I said, yeah, he's in the yard here someplace. Oh, no, sir. He's here at the kids club at the Grand Casino.
How old was he?
I think he was 9.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I mentioned the Guinness Book of World Records. We're going to come back to that. And we'll talk about how did Reed ultimately get into the ad business. We'll do that after the break. This is Reed Geis, and we'll be back after the break. Thanks.
Listen live or on demand and watch episodes of Coast View on your laptop, desktop, or on your phone or tablet by going to SuperTalkMSGulfCoast.com. Points.
I'm Eben Brown. Could it be that after more mass shootings, more people will want so-called red flag laws aimed at taking firearms from mentally unstable people?
People that are insane, people that are sick up here, I don't want them to be able to get a gun.
President Trump likes the idea on its face. As of now, nobody with documented mental illness or aggression issues would get flagged in a background check.
In addition, the same individual may not have any records that rise to the level of commitment or adjudication.
Adeline Alchin's group supports red flag laws, but what could stop someone from trying to take your guns away just because they don't like you? Amy Swear with the Heritage Foundation.
When properly constructed to afford robust due process protections, red flag laws may provide an important mechanism for intervention with regard to both suicides and mass public shootings.
And those are your bullet points. I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
Everyone in my family uses electricity differently. But when it comes to our Touchstone Energy Cooperative, we all think about it the same way. The co-op is power. Sure, electricity turns the lights on, but power is the information I get from my co-op about efficiency, safety, technology. And I trust the co-op because we are the co-op.
They're our neighbors.
Our friends. Our home.
Brought to you by Coast Electric and Singing River Electric, your Touchstone Energy Cooperatives.
You're in charge of hiring, and Indeed has solutions, like online skills tests, which let a candidate show that they're the right hire. And we give you this magic music, which will inspire the perfect hire to begin clog dancing. Okay, there's no magic music, but skills tests, that's a for sure.
See why independent research by Silk Road shows Indeed delivers 3 times more hires than any other job site. Post your next job at Indeed.com/hire and try skills tests for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, Saver. Walgreens here. We like the way you save. Take coffee. You know it doesn't have to cost $4 a cup, so you make your own. And co-pays on Medicare Part D. You save up to $5 and get 100 Balance Rewards points on each prescription when Walgreens is your preferred pharmacy. Save smartly on Med D. Walgreens. Trusted since 1901. Co-pay savings on Tier 1 generic drugs available through select plans that include Walgreens as a preferred pharmacy. Points cannot be earned in Arkansas, New Jersey, or New York. Complete details at walgreens.com/balance.
This is Home Answers Radio, and my guest today is Trey Jackson of Bulldog Construction. Trey, if a business has uneven sidewalks, they're asking for trouble. Would you agree?
Lynn, they are. Trip hazard and it needs to be fixed. Our foam technology can level those uneven walks without having to lay down any new concrete. Much easier and more affordable.
Trey, my wife tripped over one of those and skinned her knee up.
She was fortunate. Call Bulldog Construction at 601-853-4242.
Sometimes the issues of life require the assistance of a professional. Whether it involves an asbestos-related disease such as mesothelioma, personal injury from an accident, a real estate issue, or even an impending arrest charge, you need the help of an attorney. Cumbest, Hunter, and McCormick have more than 100 years combined experience representing the interests of Jackson County and Gulf Coast clients. Cumbest, Hunter, and McCormick, proud to support the Ole Miss Rebels. 762-5422, cchmlawyers.com.
sidewalk side or neutral ground side. It doesn't matter if you can't fit everyone in the car on parade night. And don't forget to make space for throws. Visit Baldwin Subaru in Covington, and we'll show you how the Subaru Ascent is a Mardi Gras game changer. With 19 cup holders, there's spots for everyone's Go Cup, and room for 8 means Grandma won't have to compete with your beads for the last seat. Whether you're a sidewalk sider or a neutral ground sider, Baldwin Subaru has the parade vehicle for you.
From the Gallo Archives.
In the House, first time since 2014 Senate race, Chris McDaniel. Looking back on the election 2014, if Chris McDaniel had not so vehemently rejected the result after the election and marched on, you would today be a viable candidate, either for lieutenant governor or for governor.
I thought what occurred there was beyond the pale. They called me a Klansman. They called me a racist. They called me the most despicable things in the world, and we know good and well there were crossover votes that occurred, and the evidence was strong.
You ever talk to Thad Cochran after that?
I tried on several occasions.
Oh, is that right?
You know, he never did return my call, and I always wanted him to know that I respected him as an individual, but the disagreements didn't change that respect that I had for him.
Are you looking forward to the next session?
Yes, sir, very much so. It's the first time in some time I'm not going to be in timeout. The powers that be have a way of punishing if you step out of line, so to speak. You know that.
I know that because George Flaggs taught me that.
Right, so.
From the Gallo Archives. The Mississippi Power Weather Center. Your weather now.
Mostly cloudy today. Dense fog advisory through mid-morning. We'll see an 80% chance of showers, possibly some thunderstorms. High near 69. Tonight, chance of rain down to 20%. Patchy fog developing overnight, the low 63. Tomorrow, more of the same, cloudy with a 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms, high near 71. Visit MississippiPower.com/ways to save to learn about programs and resources that can help you save energy and money on your electric bill.
He's the former president and publisher of the Sun Herald, and now he's on the radio. Welcome to Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back. We've got Reed Geist. In this last segment, we talked about living with his father, Wade Geist, the famous civil defense director, was like living with Elvis. And in this segment, we really want to start to talk about how did he get in the ad business, and what are some of the interesting things along the way? And one of the things that Reed is aware of that I really want to focus on, as he tells his story, I want you to hear about these moments in time that made a real difference to him, that ultimately helped accrue his success. So, Reed, how did you get in the ad business?
Oh, well, it's an interesting story. You know, when I went to Southern, I was initially a music theater major. Is that crazy?
Well, no, I get that totally.
But I figured out real quick you couldn't make any money doing it. And was I so wrong? Look at David Sheffield and Buddy Sheffield. Yeah. They stuck with the theater degrees, and man, both of them, did so well nationally. But when I got out of the Army with a communications degree, I got a PR job. I was working for Les Newcomb over at the Southern Mississippi Planning and Development District. I met my future wife, my first wife, Shirley, who's deceased now. And I started getting interested in a little bit more than PR. She was a graphics person, typesetter, layout. And we started doing business on the side, moonlighting. You know, little moonlight productions was a deal. I would write, she would lay out stuff, print. But pretty soon she went off on business, left the district. And then pretty soon I went half-time at the district. And I went back to school because now I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an ad man. Now, I hadn't had the training in school to be an ad man, so I went back to Southern and took specific courses I knew I had to have in order to get that background. Then it was just having enough guts to cut the cord and say, okay, this is what we're going to do. Mm-hmm. And they didn't kill us, immediately. So,
do you remember who your first client was?
Well, Bradford O'Keefe Funeral Homes.
Really?
Yeah, and it's interesting. When I started the business, there was another ad agency in town, McQuillan and Breckenridge. Bill McQuillan and Breckenridge had a shop, but it was going downhill. They were about to disband, actually. Mm-hmm. Darrell Breckenridge, great guy. And so I hired some people from them. One of them was Jim Jenner, a very talented designer who has passed away. God, I loved him. And another one was David Sheffield. He came and he helped me get the business off the ground. And one real important thing that happened is over at Mary Mahoney's having drinks, I connected with Kono Karana. And Kono Karana, saw us, and we started, chatting this, and he took us seriously for the first time. He took us seriously, and he got me a client. It was the garbage disposable people. He was the city attorney. He said, "You ought to go talk to guys over there about this." They were changing the way that they picked up trash and garbage. And so I came up with an ad that I still admire in my mind. The ad said, "How to throw away this ad." and it went into all the details of what you had to do now you had to, here was the subhead, start treating your trash like garbage. Is that great?
Hey, by the way, God bless Kono.
Oh God, man, listen, he meant so much to me, and I just can't. I knew when I was a little kid, his father and my father worked together in the insurance business, and I remember seeing him. He was the cool teenager,
Yeah.
Back when I think he was 7 or 8 years older than me. But the next big thing that happened was Jerry O'Keefe walked up the steps. I could hear him walking up. I had this little shop on Beaumarchais Mall, $50 a month. And he came in my office and he said, "I'm getting ready to resign. I'm getting ready to say I'm not going to run for mayor again. I'm not going to run again. And I would like for you to help me on my speech." And we chatted, and I took notes, and I wrote it. I handed it to him, and he said, "Well, it's really short." I said, "That's right. But if you use this and say this, every bit of it will be on television. Every word of it will be in the newspaper. If you talk any longer, they're going to pick what they want." And sure enough, it was short, but every word was on TV. Every word was in the newspaper. Gerald Blessing ran for mayor then, and he hired us. And, that's sort of just, look, we started taking off from there. We got some other political candidates during that same session.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was the mayor of Waynesboro. He wanted to be a highway commissioner.
Mm-hmm.
He met with us. He wanted to run against W.H. Shag Pyron. He was a highway commissioner for the Southern District. He said, "Well, some people call me Robert, some people call me Robert Earl, some people call me Bobby Earl. I was going to run as Robert Bobby Earl Joyner." And we said, no, your name is Bob. From now on, your name is Bob.
Mm-hmm.
And by God, he won that election. He started with nothing, and he won that election by 5 votes.
Wow. So, Reed, is that the one that's in the Guinness Book of World?
Yeah, really, yeah.
Tell that story.
Okay, so in the Guinness Book of World Records, this was a 1989 edition. It's not in there anymore, but it's under closest elections, and it's the narrowest recorded percentage win in an election. The narrowest recorded percentage win in an election would seem to be for the office of Southern District Highway Commissioner in Mississippi, August 7, 1979. Robert E. Joyner was declared winner over W.H. Pyron with 133,587 votes to 133,582 votes. The loser got more than 49.999999% of the votes.
Wow.
5 votes.
That's incredible.
I tell you, that night when they were counting votes, oh my God, talk about tense.
So
he got mad at us too. He said, I said, "You said you wanted to win. You didn't say by how much."
Right. So you had your business then took sort of a fork in the road. You had your business clients that were doing what they were doing. Then you had your political business that was kind of taking a different track. Yeah, and you did both simultaneously.
Yeah, that same year, the Harrison County Tourism Commission account came into play.
Mm-hmm.
And we pitched it, and by God, we got it. It was a huge account in 1979. I think it was $350,000 account.
Wow.
Now, we don't get all that money. We get 15% of it.
Yeah.
But it was huge. From then on, I wasn't afraid anymore every day, every breath I took, because when you go in business for yourself, it's going to be scary.
Yeah.
You know, it takes a while. Some people say it takes 5 years of them trying to kill you before you really make it.
Yeah.
But that gave us a little bit of breathing room.
Yeah.
You know, we started, okay. I mean, we had a lot of ups and downs over the years, but we ended up working for so many different people. We worked for Hancock Bank.
Yeah.
We handled tourism for 20 years. We worked on that account.
Yeah.
That was really my true love, was working in tourism.
Yeah.
We worked for Stuart Sneed Hughes. We worked for hospitals all over the country. It just a wonderful corporate business.
And then Godwin bought your agency.
Yeah.
And you were in a position for a while where you worked with them.
Yeah.
And then at some point in the future, you decided to do it again.
Well, yeah, we had a 4-year contract.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that helped me with the sale told me, he said, listen, you better make sure you get enough money for this because you'll never be able to work in this business again. So, ouch. But after the 4 years, I just had to go back on my own. You know, I couldn't work for another year. I had to take off. An entire year. Mm-hmm. But during that time, they let me do politics, and I have an attorney I work for that I've worked for 25 years probably.
Mm-hmm.
But then I started building back again, and eventually built back and back and back. And but to one point, you know, I had like 20 employees. Now it's I'm pretty much it's me and Susan, me and my wife.
Mm-hmm.
So my practice is a lot smaller now. I'm doing some wonderful work. Working with my daughter, we've done some great work for Mississippi Power Company.
Tell us about her, because she's really blossomed.
Oh, incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, Angela, my daughter Angela, she didn't make it through the University of Southern Mississippi. She said, okay, I'm going to go to California. And she went to California, and she was down to her last $300 or $400. She was going to have to tuck her tail and come home. She bought a red leather skirt with her last money and went to the premiere of The Nutty Professor. David Sheffield invited her to the premiere and introduced her around. Hey, this is Angela Geis, Reed Geis's daughter. You remember him? Yeah, she needs a job. Well, by God, she had a job by Thursday, answering phones. Then within about a year, she owned the company.
Wow.
And she just finished doing. Not very many people are going to know this, okay, that are my age, but she just did the music video for Lizzo.
Right.
Number one entertainer of the year, Lizzo.
Yeah.
It was,
wow.
She was really exciting about that. I mean, it's terrific.
She's creative. She's a video producer. She does it all.
She's got drive.
Yeah,
too, man.
Amazing drive.
Yeah.
So when we come back, we're going to continue the conversation about, you know, what is Reed doing these days. He went on a safari in Africa this year. There's so many cool stories that he could tell about his world travel. But we'll be back after this break. And again, it's Reed Geis, one of my Renaissance friends. Here we come. We'll see you after the break.
Subscribe for free to the Coast View podcast on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. We are with the fabulous Norbert Putnam as he played on so many hit records, you can't count them, and produced for some of the biggest acts ever. We got to talk Jimmy Buffett.
One day at breakfast, he says, I started a new song. He says, about a night and a day in Key West, I played a bar and I got drunk, and coming home, I stepped out of my flip-flop, and I just kept going. I stepped on a beer can. And the next morning, I'm up, and I'm hungover, and I'm trying to make a margarita. I got some shrimp boiling. I can't find the salt. I said, Jimmy, I kind of like this. And he said, yeah, I think I'll call it Margaritaville.
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on your local SuperTalk Mississippi station, and now on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
Okay, here's the deal. If you like saving money, then listen to what I'm about to say. Don't scan the dial, listen. We've got tickets to the Audubon Zoo for just $15. And yeah, you do the quick math, that's half price. $30 zoo tickets for just $15. Best part about it? No catch to it. Get as many half-price tickets as you want right now at SuperTalk 1031's Facebook. And just look for the Half Off Deals logo and click it. It's really easy. Take the kids to the zoo for half price. But hurry, this offer ends. They might already be sold out.
Just like money in your pocket, that's Super Fun. When you trade with us, you always get our best. Super deals are why, whether you sell or buy. We cash checks, we pay bills, we make loans like no one will, and help you keep your pockets filled. Just like money in your pocket, that's Super Fun.
Here's the Sports Medicine Minute by Bienville Orthopedics.
Hello, my name is Ekaterina Karpetskaya. I'm an orthopedic surgeon with Bienville Orthopedics, the one to trust. If you are having persistent aches and pains in the same body part, like your knee or your shin, that only happens when you run and persists after running and does not go away after a few days of rest, it's time to see a specialist, such an orthopedic surgeon. How old is too old to start an active lifestyle? There's no such number. There are some Ironmen in their 80s. If there are some persistent injuries that are keeping you from running, there are other alternatives that you could try, such as swimming or riding your bicycle. While exercising or being active in the South Mississippi heat, it's very important to hydrate.
Bienville Orthopedics, Mississippi's largest orthopedic practice since 1981.
So you probably already know Adventures Pub and Spirits has won awards for local favorites Hangout on the Coast and Best Bar on the Coast, but you may not know that Adventures also features an excellent lunch special menu Monday through Friday. Homemade lasagna, burgundy beef tips, chicken fried steak, shrimp Creole, and more for only $8.95. Oh, my personal favorite, the seafood pie loaded up with lump crab meat, shrimp, and cheese baked in a flaky pie crust. Adventures Pub and Spirits, 1 block north of the Hard Rock, next door to City Hall on Lemuse.
It's that time of year again, and everyone has a wish list. Make sure window tinting from Solar Control is on your list. Now's the best time to have your car or truck tinted because Solar Control is giving you 20% off for a limited time. That's right, 20% off the regular price of lifetime warranty 3M window tint. Gift certificates are available. For a free estimate, call 872-0805. Solar Control in Ocean Springs, the coast's only 3M window film dealer. Don't squint, get tint.
This is Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back. We're sitting here with Reed Geis. Reed has such an interesting story, but we were talking about Angela a few minutes ago, his daughter, and the success that she's had in her life. And then his son, Wade, who we mentioned a few minutes ago, named after your father, who rode over the bridge on his bike. He's in the custom furniture business.
I'm so proud of Wade. The things that he can do with his hands. He's building, top-end, high-end custom furniture. I mean, using exotic woods, using a lot of repurposed woods. And anytime they cut a tree down in Ocean Springs, he's there.
Really?
You know, he's trying to get that and trying to set it aside. And he has a little kiln where he dries woods. And I mean, it's amazing some of the work he's doing. Geis Woodworks.
So I was, so here we are. I was sitting this year, reading something. I get an email from you, and you send me The Short Happy Life of Francis McCumber from the short story Hemingway short. You were in Africa.
I was. I'm so blessed. My wife is Susan is such a terrific person. She was a bank president, quit and started an aviation business of all things, aerial photography. She's just a wonderful, a Renaissance woman, if you will. There's so many different things she's interested in. But one thing she's interested in is travel.
Yes.
And I've been going with her all over the world, to Cambodia and Vietnam, India, Africa. In Africa we were in these lorries, no sides, no roof, sitting in front of a pack of lions. I mean, the big guy walked right behind me within inches, man. I hoped he couldn't hear my heartbeat. But apparently they just see that that lorry is one thing, is not people.
Yeah.
They said, don't stand up, don't make any loud noises, or they'll know you're people then. But there was something in that story, the short story, the Short Happy Life of Francis McComber, where the lion's point of view, he says he sees this thing, and then he sees a man thing get out of it, but the thing he doesn't recognize as being people.
He doesn't see it as dessert.
No. Oh,
and then, Belize is one of your favorite places to go.
Yes, and my wife and my son, youngest son, Breton, 13, they're both into diving now. So we can go down to Ambergris Key in Belize, and they can dive, and I can go fly fishing for bonefish and tarpon and permit.
I'm so glad to hear they got into diving. My sons and I love to dive. And my favorite place in the world, which we've been back to many times, is the Turks and Caicos. And on your cruise recently, you actually stopped there, and they had an opportunity to dive there.
Yeah. Susan and Breton dove at Grand Turk, and they said it was next to Ambergris Key. It was the best place they've ever been.
So now all of your future travel will have embedded in it some aspect of diving, I bet.
You're right. Or anything that's going to keep them happy, well, I can be happy too. Dude ranches are really good. They both love to ride.
Yeah.
I don't ride, but I fish.
Yeah.
And the dude ranches up in the mountains are perfect for that. I can fish all day. They can ride all day.
So do you, and coming back to fly fishing, and as we start to wind down, you still spend a lot of time in places like Montana, don't you?
I love it out there in the West. I really do. I didn't get out there until I got out of the Army. I was 23, 24 years old. But the first time I saw it, I was in awe. I just got to get back. I try to get there as much as I can.
Well, in my travels, people always ask about, they know, people who know me well know that I fish, and I've fished all my life, and, this is a serious love of mine. But some of the fishing off the Mississippi Gulf Coast, I try to help people understand who don't experience it. People who do experience it know this already. It's some of the best fishing in the world. It literally is. It's truly remarkable.
When we're out there and we're wade fishing and sight casting to bull reds in the surf, I mean, all I can say, world class.
Yeah.
People would pay $1,000 a day for that opportunity, and here it is, right in our own backyard, man. How's the weather look there, Kyle? Can we go? Can we go anytime soon?
It could be the clear water at an oil rig, or Chandelier Islands, or even the backwaters of Biloxi Bay.
That's right.
I mean, look what we have. A tailing redfish.
We're so blessed. We really are.
So you fish a lot in Back Bay as well?
I do, yeah. I live out there in Back Bay, around the corner from you, towards the bridge. And, I love to fish in Back Bay as well.
So as we sort of kind of wind down, Reed, how do you sum up your life so far?
Oh, It's been a gas. It really has been super. And like you say, I want to keep being amazed.
Yeah.
If I can keep that childlike amazement, just to be in awe of the things that surround us, I think that my life will continue to be a happy life.
Yeah, and so for people who would come here, people who are wondering whether they want to stay here or not, what would you say to them?
How could you find any place better? Our good friend, Gene Warr, he's from Texas. He says, I love living down here. The only bad thing about it is you don't have any place to retire to. You're already here,
You were actually the agency of record for the Governor's Commission after Katrina.
That was something, and I'm glad I was able to contribute to that, and working with the Shorettes and trying to get the word out to the people. It gave me a good feeling that I had done something.
It really brought a lot of us together, and we'll never forget it. I know.
Right.
Reed, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you taking the time to visit with us.
I appreciate you asking me.
You have a wonderful life. Thanks for sharing it with us.
All right.
And we look forward to a terrific conversation tomorrow with Jerry St. Pei.
Terrific. What a wonderful community leader.
His leadership contribution to the coast and to Ingalls, helping build the Ingalls we know today.
Oh, yeah.
What a great conversation. He wrote a book about it. I look forward to sharing that with you tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow.
Great, man.
There we are, buddy.
All right.
Follow SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1 on Twitter @SuperTalk MSGC.